What's up guys, my name's Hugh Miller and today I wanted to further look into this new trademark that Her Interactive has filed. We've had a few days to let this title stew in our minds and I've been reading a lot of comments and theories that people have suggested and have done a lot of thinking myself. In this video I want to break down what we know, what we don't know, and what this new trademark could mean. Let's get into it. Right off the bat, I want to remind everyone that we know very, very little about what this trademark actually is. I reached out to Indy at Her Interactive for a comment, but she said she wasn't able to say anything due to NDAs. Fair enough. I also want to remind everyone that aside from the factual information presented in this particular segment, the rest of the video is all theories, suggestions, inferences, and so on. Going back to the facts, we know that Her Interactive filed this trademark on October 12th, 2021, and we know that it's referring to a sort of digital item which remains to be officially revealed. We also know that regardless of what this trademark applies to, be it a game, book, TV show, movie, whatever, they are sticking with the mystery genre. If we look back at the trademark information, under the mark drawing code, you'll notice that it says 4 standard character mark. That simply means they've trademarked the words, Mystery of the 7 Keys, but haven't applied a trademark to any sort of design or layout of the text. This would give them creative freedom to stylistically alter the text any way they want and still remain in possession of the rights to it. If we look at the specific wording, then compare this text to the title of any of the past games Her Interactive has made, you'll notice that Her has never used the word mystery in any of their game titles. Another interesting fact is that they trademark the words at all. I want to go back to the master list of trademarks that Her Interactive has made over the years and look at each word or phrase that's on that list. At the bottom of the list are 2 seemingly random titles, Shootout at Old Tucson and The Last Bounty Hunter. As arbitrary as they may seem, they're actually the titles of really old video games that Her Interactive's old parent company, American Laser Games, released in the 1990s. The phrase, "for girls who aren't afraid of a mouse," was created back in 1999 and was seen on the Nancy Drew game boxes for several years following. Quick fun fact about this phrase, the use of mouse isn't actually referring to a living mouse, but a computer mouse. This is because Her Interactive was created in 1994 to design games to prove wrong the stereotype that girls didn't like video games. Her Interactive is an obvious one, I don't think I need to talk about it too much. The Cody Capers and Cody both refer to a game Her Interactive made back in 2007 called The Cody Capers Cody Pops the Case. These 2 trademarks are interesting because they only ever made one game under this series, I guess you could say, but it was trademarked nonetheless. You can read more about the Cody Capers in the link in the description. This next trademark is really fascinating because of the fact that it's listed as a dead trademark. To this day, Her Interactive still says that Dossier is one of their trademarks. However, according to the trademark website owned by the government of the US, it is a dead trademark. That being said, I'm not a lawyer and I definitely don't pretend to be one, so I don't think I have any right to offer any sort of comment on the subject. For this next one, I assume the mystery game company was meant as a sort of subtitle to Her Interactive back in the day, but I'm not 100% sure. Dare to Play is another obvious trademark that I just don't need to get into. These next 4, I assume, are all connected to the Mobile Mysteries series that Her started and quickly ended, only having created one game, which was Mobile Mysteries Shadow Ranch, something which you can also read more about in the description of this video. Again, just like the Cody Capers, this trademark applied to an implied series but only ever had one product released. They had plans to release a second game in the series, but it never happened. Detect Divas was something I've never heard of. However, if we open the trademark, we can see that it was filed in August of 2011, then abandoned in October 2012. Dog Digs and Dog Tales are interesting because, again, I've got no clue what they were for. They were definitely not associated with Codes and Clues because they were both abandoned in March 2014, 2 years before Codes and Clues was released. Speaking of Codes and Clues, that's our next obvious trademark along with Code Puppy. However, there's only one Codes and Clues game, something which they seemingly put a trademark on. What I'm not sure of is whether or not they put the trademark on the game or a Codes and Clues series. Here's a really interesting little fact. The trademark for Codes and Clues was filed over 2 months before the mass layoff at Her Interactive. This means they must have been planning to make the game regardless of the fact that they were making mid at the same time. Focal was an old app that Her Interactive made which was meant to connect various social media platforms and have them all appear on the same timeline. However, the project didn't do very well and was taken down not long after it had been put up. I personally found it interesting that the trademark for Focal was cancelled only earlier this year. Finally, we've got HI Kids, which is the subdivision of Her Interactive that made Codes and Clues. There's a few things I want to mention about this list. Notice how Her Interactive has never actually put a trademark on the words Nancy Drew video game or Nancy Drew adventure game or something like that. However, they have trademarked other sub-series such as the Cody Capers, Mobile Mysteries, and Codes and Clues. Based on that alone, I feel it's a viable possibility that Mystery of the Seven Keys could be a new series from Her Interactive. Whether or not it's Nancy Drew still remains to be seen. Overall, that about sums up what we do know about this trademark. What we don't know is an even broader sea of speculation. Don't take anything beyond this point as truth or fact. Simply by going off of this trademark and no other information means that we have tons of possible avenues for what Mystery of the Seven Keys is. The first and most reasonable choice is that this is the title of a new game. Again though, Her Interactive has never trademarked the titles of any of the past Nancy Drew adventure games for PC and Mac. But, what if Mystery of the Seven Keys isn't a Nancy Drew game? What if, for the first time since 2007, Her Interactive is creating something that isn't Nancy Drew? That opens up a world of possibilities as to what it could be. It could be the title of a game, a new series made up of multiple games, perhaps 7 games? We really have no idea. I mentioned in my last video that there was a minuscule similarity to Ransom of the Seven Ships simply because they both contain the word 7 in their title. There's a very small chance that this could be a remaster of Ransom of the Seven Ships since they removed the game from digital storefronts. It's a very unlikely and almost impossible chance, but since we know next to nothing, it's still a chance. If this is the title of a new Nancy Drew game, they could be basing it off a book or multiple books. However, none of the Nancy Drew books have the same title or even have 7 keys in their title. The 2 books that come the closest are Nancy Drew number 28, The Clue of the Black Keys, and Nancy Drew number 152, The Key in the Satin Pocket. Again, there's a small chance they could be taking something from one or both of these books to build a game with. Someone commented on my last video with what I thought was a great idea. The 7 keys may refer to the 7 main keys on a piano. A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Maybe they're making a Nancy Drew musical? I don't know, I'd be down for that. I also want to touch on the fact that Mid ended with a possible teaser of the next game taking place in Austria. Perhaps they will have something in Austria that requires 7 keys? Anyway, circling back to the main title of this section, those are just some of the things we don't know. Obviously, we don't know what this is a title for, we don't know release dates, we don't know anything. What does all this mean? Well, to be plain and simple, it means that Her Interactive clearly doesn't seem to have plans to shut down just yet. They've got something up their sleeves, and all we can do to find out about it is to wait. A few months ago, I had the opportunity to have Kalina Herman, a past Her Interactive employee, join us for the most recent edition of the NDW podcast, where she shed a little bit more light on the next game from Her.
The little that I can say is that I know they are working on it. Yeah. That is truth. They were working on it since, oh goodness, I remember we were getting some real hardcore stuff done in January this year.
Oh, really?
That I was involved with. I can't say too much about what that was, but I think they're amping up again this fall.
No way.
With some other things. I do not know what the next steps are. They might have been working on it all this time, but I wasn't involved with that. It was like other things happening in the process that I didn't need to be a part of, so I was working on other things. But yeah, I know they are working on it, and I do not know when they're going to talk about it next. I do know what they have in concept, but that is definitely hush-hush.
Again, we don't know much. We don't have much to go on. At this point, we just need to have faith that something is going to happen. My guess is that we probably will be hearing something about this by the end of 2022, but that's just my hope. I don't have any sort of insider information, so I'm just speculating like the rest of you guys. To wrap this video up, what are your thoughts on all of this? I know that there's already been a lot of talk in the community about it and what it all could mean, but I thought I'd just share my thoughts and what little knowledge I do have in this one video. There are some other great videos and articles out there from some fantastic creators that are speculating on this subject, which I will link below. If you've got more thoughts you want to share, please let me know in the comments and I'll be sure to read them. I read every single comment that gets posted on my channel, so even if I don't reply to yours, you can be sure that I've read it. Thank you all for watching. This is definitely a longer video, so if you've made it all the way through, cheers to you, my friend. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a wonderful rest of your day.